All right, I'm Kevin Wheeler. I am a prophet of God the Father. I believe in Jesus Christ of Nazareth who walked the earth and has died for all of our sins. Glory be to our God and our Lord and Savior, King of Kings and Lord of Lords, Alpha and Omega. Hallelujah. But um to go on now, I am going to tell you about me. I am a fellow believer, as I said previously, but my life has been I had a lot of up and downs. For the most part, when you compare my life to a lot of other people's lives, I believe that my life is full of lollipops and gumdrops. Okay, I think I went through a pretty good childhood. God has covered me for most part, but so let's get into it. This is my life, and this is just a little bit about me and stuff like that. So I was very young. At a very young age. My mom had a lot of kids, and I am the second oldest of seven kids that she has bore, and it is a blessing having that many siblings. A lot of people say I'm the only child, and it sucks. But I would say, being so many children, it sucks sometimes too. But we always had someone to talk to, someone to play with, and we always had fun imaginations to run around the house with. But for the most part, we didn't have our fathers in our life, and we we all we all had different fathers. So three of us had the same father, the other three had the same father, and one of us had a different father. So we had three different father figures in our life. Now they weren't around majority of our lives. Okay, we grew up really struggling constantly, day in and day out. We moved from place to place. We lived in shelter homes. Um, they helped provide to an extent. I don't know whatever they had going on, why they couldn't do whatever they wanted to do or how much they wanted to do to what they can do. But I know that we struggled, and there's been many nights when we had no food, no hot water. Sometimes we didn't even have water, but uh, we had no electricity as well, and no funds at all to even be able to go and wash clothes and stuff like that. So, a lot of little things that people take for granted, a lot of people don't have, and I truly understand that, you know. But when I was younger, I was very mischievous to an extent. I was still calm in a very good aspect of it all. But for the most part, when I lived in New York, is when I really started spiraling out of control. Mind you, I was raped when I was younger, and I can tell you right now, I don't really remember too much of it. It feels as though it's a real big fog, but I could say to learn about that now and stuff like that, definitely hits a spot. Um, you could say it hits a spot of anger and stuff like that, or But we're gonna move on. But for the most part, that happened. I can't tell you my emotions during that. That is just still being extracted, but but use some nice words. Extracted. I like that word. But I lived in New York, and I was probably one of the cool kids. I was bullied as well, all through first all the way to fifth grade, and still further on. But it lessened down as I kept getting older and kept really paying attention to people, and I won't say manipulating them, but being a manipulator in a sense, to where I manipulate them to being so cool with me that they wouldn't want to pick on me, being friends with them so that they didn't pick on me. So and being funny so that they didn't pick on me, and if I was being funny, then it helped me to get through the picking on. So I didn't like to get picked on. It definitely annoyed me, and I got picked on about my head. My head was just a peanut head. I had a peanut head, and people love to say peanut. And I had a problem with peanuts, because if you brought a peanut to me, I was thinking you're talking about my head, and now we have a big problem with each other, because that's just what everybody picked on me for. And it wasn't even like I just got picked on. It was mainly females that picked on me. So, you know, the gender really mattered because you're a guy that, you know, you want a female, you want someone to love you, you want to have that intimate type of friend or bond with the woman, but you know they're the ones that pick on you the most, so you have some type of resentment to them. Not saying that I decided to become gay. I was never gay. And people picked on me about that too because I just didn't want to deal with females because I felt as though they was always antagonizing in a way and making fun of me. But most men wouldn't make fun of me. They may say it and then joke around. It still hurt just as much too because it's like, dang, I can't go anywhere without getting picked on. But for the most part, I got picked on and I didn't like it at all. Some days I just felt like, why did I have to be here and live this life that I have? Why did I have to have this head? What happened to me when I was in my mom's belly, you know? And yeah, that's how I felt. So I was pretty mischievous, you know, after that, you know, getting bullied, you know, had to build up pride within myself, to have to build up confidence within myself to keep going to school every day, even though I didn't want to. I wanted to wear a hoodie all the time or a hat because I couldn't stand people staring at my head. Didn't matter where I went, you know. I could be going to the grocery store and someone staring at me. I could be going to a laundromat and someone staring at me. I could just be walking down the street and people was pointing and staring and laughing. And, you know, I can see them staring and just like, wow, why is his head like that? And it really irked me to the core. Like, I mean, to the core, where sometimes I felt as though like I just wanted to beat everybody the heck up. But yeah, so I lived a really struggling life. You know, we didn't have much food on the table. We definitely ate a lot of ramen noodles, tuna, PB and jelly. You know, that broke man status. You know, and there's nothing wrong with them at all. They actually help you out and they give you some weight and keep you sustained. But for the most part, I definitely grew up on the cheapest things you can think of, even to the point where, you know, drinking your own spit for water, you know, or for food, and eating your nails, you know. Shoot, it even came to a point where I was eating my boogers. But that's besides the point. That's a little too TMI, you know. But, you know, I'm older now. I'm a lot better. But also, while I was in New York, I had a lot of friends. I always gravitated to people that did wicked things, people that did things that wasn't right, people didn't like, and you know, I thought they were cool because no one messed with them, you know, no one bullied them, you know, they can't get bullied. So I gravitated more to that, knowing that, okay, I have to be something like that in order to make sure that I wasn't bullied. And that's where I gravitated more into those type of people. But you can say I had a friend that made me feel as though I was cursed. Something, I don't really remember everything, but I know he made me feel as though I was cursed into to a grave extent, that I was gonna die within a certain amount of time if I didn't break the curse. And I used to live in Queens, New Jersey. Queens, New Jersey. Why did I say that? But Queens, New York. And I lived by the school named PS43, School by the Sea. Now they changed their name, so it's a different name. I don't know it. I technically don't care about it anymore. I'm happy as heck I'm out of school. But PS43, School by the Sea, and we was by the beach. I lived next to the beach. The school was right, like the boardwalk was right next to the school. So, you know, sometimes the school will get really nice and they'll allow the kids to go and learn on the beach, and they'll bring a board out there, and you know, we'll be able to sit out there and learn a couple things, and then we'll be able to play on the beach. But for the most part, he made me feel as though I was cursed. And when that happened, you know, we had to go to the beach and we had to walk to a certain distance in the beach and get to a certain pole. Now, you know those little poles that you see that goes out to the water, kind of showing you the height of the water, where it's at. I went on that, and it was very hard to get to it, and we kept trying. We tried for hours to get to it and couldn't get to it. But that was a time in my life where I was literally about to die because I was almost about to drown in that water, and I was completely cold. I skipped school to do it, and mind you, I'm not talking about I was in 5th grade or 4th grade. No, I'm in 3rd or 2nd grade. So excuse me, I'm gonna have to cut that. But But I was like in second or third grade, and I was skipping school already, you know, skipping classes, going to the beach, you know, when I shouldn't be, um, doing literally things that, you know, I thought was cool, doing my own thing. Got in trouble a couple of times by my mom about it, but never really got caught. Um, never did anything to the curse, but then he's like, oh, the curse uplifted off of you, you know, and I was freed. I was relieved. And then, you know, while I was in school, you know, another kid came up to me and was like, yo, do you know about this curse? This guy says I'm cursed. He says I'm cursed. And I'm like, you're okay, you're not cursed. Ain't nothing gonna happen to you. He's lying. Because I had to go through it, and I realized that he was lying, that I was never cursed. But, you know, for some reason I stayed being friends with him. But, you know, like I said, I gravitated to people that was doing evil things because, you know, it helped me cope with the bullying. It helped me understand how not to get bullied anymore. So I was very much of a thinker and more of a manipulator in a sense. Uh, manipulate your way through life. Ain't that what, you know, most people do? You know, in high school you build up an image. In first grade and kindergarten and all that, you build up an image only when you're in school. But when you're out of school, you know, you're a whole teddy bear and a cake. But when you're in school, you're a whole tough cookie. You're a cookie that's rotten and don't know and don't nobody want to mess with no rotten cookie. You know, they wouldn't even dare make fun of a rotten cookie because one rotten apple will spoil the whole tree. So, yeah, and when I was in New York as well, I used to run away from cops. I used to hop on top of buildings, climb on top of buildings. I used to do a lot of crazy things. I had a gang in school, and we was called the Flip Crew, and we would always be flipping. You know, we thought that name was so cool, doing backflips, cartwheels, doing backflips with no hands. So, you know, I was pretty athletic in that area, um, and I can still do them now. But you know, I was pretty much a bad kid in that time. Did a lot of things. Did not really disobey my mom because, you know, when I came home, I always wanted to help and make sure that things were clean. I was always a clean freak. Had to make sure everything was clean and everything was set up. So when mom came home from work, knowing that she was the only one that we was looking forward to coming home, because, you know, our fathers wasn't in our lives as often, and it was definitely amazing. I also remember a time where my stepdad, you know, at that time he was living with us for about a year or two, and before he really left us and stuff like that. And he used to sell cigars, and people used to be adults come to our house to buy cigars from us. And, you know, I'll go downstairs when they ring the doorbell, and I'll bring the cigar, and then they'll take one, and I'll take the money, and I'll go upstairs. You know, I used to do that type of, so it was like a drug exchange, because whether you believe it or not, certain cigars are illegal, and at that, it's nicotine, it's a drug, so you can say I was a drug dealer, put it that way, at a really young age. If you want to be real technical, oh, you're just selling tobacco? Well, I was still selling drugs. Ain't tobacco a drug? Yes. So, dang, I feel like I just attacked y'all. I'm sorry. Don't mind me. I didn't mean to attack you in any way, but yes, you know, talking about my life, you know, kind of brings back little memories that really, like, just kind of like, wow, like I was a part of it, you know. As I walk in love with the Lord, and truly am renewed in His eyes, redeemed. I'm truly blessed. But, you know, I lived in New York, and it was a very hard time there, and then it didn't get any better. You know, like I said, I always moved around. When I came to New Jersey, I had to deal with being bullied again, because now I'm in a new area where nobody knows me. No one knows that I'm the coolest kid around, that I'm funny and stuff like that. So I got bullied once again for a little short time, until people realized to stop bullying me. Because I learned everything I learned from New York, and then nobody wanted to mess with people from New York. They're crazy, aren't they? You know? And a lot of people like, oh, he's from New York. Oh, you don't want to mess with him. You know, everybody got a image of New York that they don't even know. And ain't gonna lie, you know, you don't mess with the one from New York. They're kind of like a little crazy in a sense, but, you know, it's just who you mess with. shouldn't mess with anybody anyways. So, okay. But when I came to New Jersey, that's when I really started to get into drugs. I started to get into skipping school a lot more often. I also got in school we used to play this game called booty tag. I started playing tag with girls and guys, but not guys. It was guys against girls. So wasn't touching guys' butts, but we were touching females' butts. So it was a tag thing, and they had to run to the wall in order to be safe. That was a safe zone where they couldn't get tagged. But once you left the wall, you were able to get tagged. You'll run around, then you try to get to the wall before you got tagged. But if you got tagged, it really didn't matter. Tag. Terrible. But yeah, we played that game, and it was definitely a funny game. It was definitely a funny game. Also, I started really smoking marijuana at the age of, I would say I started smoking marijuana in 8th grade, 7th grade. So that opened up a few doorways for me, in the drug world, and really learning about how to sell, how to use it, how to roll up, how to what it feels like, the ease that you get from it and stuff like that. And I would not advise anyone to do it. It is a trap, and it's a trap that can really keep you bondage. And I could say I was bondage for some years now. I am 8 months clean. I am definitely proud of that. Hallelujah. And question, do I want to go back? Heck no. Man, the life is too good on this side. Why would I want to do something like that? But I was smoking marijuana. I was skipping school a lot. I had the foulest mouth. You couldn't tell Kevin anything. Kevin was cursing you out one time. Kevin was flipping that bird. Kevin was cursing your mother, cursing your father, cursing everything you got, anything you own. It didn't matter. I grew up very without anything, so I always had kind of resentment to everybody that had everything, and always kind of looked at them as taking everything they have for granted. Because I would have loved to have like $2 just to get a beef patty at school, but I didn't have that. And then, you say, hey, can you buy me a beef patty? And, everybody's stingy with their money. So, stinginess was something I had to deal with too. Everybody always being stingy, but, it's their stuff. So I didn't really ask too much. But when I really wanted, I asked, and usually got denied. But when I was younger, and I had money, and I had like me a couple of dollars, and I bought bags of chips, I would share. But no one would want to share with me. That just sucks. Think about it now. But so got into a lot of drugs, got into doing that. Cursed out a lot of teachers. Principals could get it too. Didn't care. Like, I had the really, I don't care. You could say whatever you want, and I'll let you know about yourself right then and there. And I was a little big problem. I was very manipulative. I was a liar, lied a lot, lying was my thing. You can't tell me nothing. When I tell you, you gotta protect yourself and stuff like that. Manipulation comes with lying, okay? So I was a very good liar. I can lie to you straight to your face and feel fine the next moment, like nothing happened, like it's okay, like you believe it, that's all I need. And I'll walk away knowing the truth, but you would never know the truth. I was definitely a big liar back then. Sometimes it just came out so frequently that I didn't even notice I was lying anymore. But I knew the truth. I knew what I was saying was wrong. But it was like, shoot, they gonna believe it anyways. Don't matter. Let me just let you know let me just tell you about this right now. So, I definitely was a big liar. I have me and my brother, we didn't really get along too much after we really started getting older. As teenagers start butting heads, we start cursing each other out. I had spit in his face at one point. Then he has choked me and stuff like that, and tried to beat me up for it. He was so mad when I spit in his face, but I don't blame him. I'm mad at myself for doing it, But at that point, my mom had kicked us out, both of us out the house for a minute in the cold. No jacket, no shoes, no slippers. How about that, huh? But that was definitely a time and a moment of our lives where we, we realized that we was wrong. We didn't butt heads as too often like that, but we did still butt heads throughout our lives. Really, I played a lot of video games. RPG games was the best because, you're killing people. It was a relief, a stress relief, being able to dominate over people in the video game, cursing people out in the video game, telling people about their mother and how everything in the world is, just wrong. I don't want to say the words now, but let's just say very, very foul language. Okay. I gave a lot of people. I don't really remember what I was gonna say on that note, so we're gonna cut that part. But let's see. My life was okay. That's what I say. Like, when you compare my life to a lot of other people, it's pretty much gumdrops and lollipops. The struggle was the struggle. That's where I was at. Foster home to not foster home, but shelter to shelter, and then apartment to apartment to apartment to apartment to apartment to apartment. So I was never in one area at one time. That's why I could barely remember a home address, because I'm like, I might move anyways. Well, it was the sense of remembering it, I had a lot of friends. I was very liked about from a lot of people. I was liked, but they may bully me a little bit in a sense because they'll talk about my head or whatever, or try to make fun or crack jokes. And I was not a person that liked to crack jokes, because once you touch a tender spot, I have a real big problem with you. I had to deal with people making fun of my head. So, you touch that spot. Oh, you got a burger head. Okay, first it was a peanut, now it's a burger. What's going on here? I got a problem. So I was definitely very, very vocal. Very vocal. Football head, well, you name it, it was said. Shoot, someone even called me a penis head. I was like, are you serious? Yeah. So I was like, wow. So I had a real big problem about my head, really really insecure about it. That was probably the only thing I was ever insecure about, and that's about it. I mean, I was always skinny because, like I said, I never really ate as often. So sometimes as I grew up, it just, I'll feel trapped. Sometimes I just wouldn't eat just because still felt like I was still always in that situation. So it didn't really bother me much not to eat. I can go days without eating and feel perfectly fine. I'll feel hungry, don't get me wrong, but I won't stress about it or be like, I'll just go through it like it's another day. So that's that. But as I grew up, I started to do, crazy things. Not too crazy though. I usually stayed in the house and I just wanted better. I really just wanted to be at peace. Had to deal with the racism, had to be scared of going outside because I'm black. I might get shot or die, or, this person's probably saying something about me. Was very always had to worry about getting hung. It's not like slavery was done. We were still enslaved in our minds, so that's that. But as I grew up, I grew out of that and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's my life.
I'm cutting this part. Emotions. You went over like all of your emotions? Cigarettes and drinking.
Okay. So I started smoking, and it was a very, very good stress relief for me. I was mad, but when I smoked me a blunt, I was cool, calm, and collective. Had no problem with anything. Felt amazing. Felt like the world was literally lifted up, and I was out of every evil, bad situation. Even if I was hungry, My hunger was gone. Most people would say that when you smoke, you would you wouldn't feel hungry. I mean, you will feel hungry, like you will eat a lot. Me, when I smoke, I don't eat a lot. I'm good. You know, I may eat a little here, there. You know, I may want a snack, some junk food, but other than that, I was absolutely fine. And really, when I started smoking, that's when it really started relieving all of my issues. Whatever issues I had or felt, it relieved it. Now, I would say like it wasn't a good choice, but it was kind of like the only option I had. Um, I started drinking with my friends and stuff like that, hanging out really late at nighttime drinking. I started to smoke cigarettes because, you know, at one point I was like, why do people smoke cigarettes? You know, you get lung cancer and all this kind of stuff. And then, you know, my friend was like, just try it. I'm like, don't kill you. It don't kill you today, so I'll try it, you know. And I started getting addicted to nicotine at a pretty young age. Cut it out because I was really just a marijuana smoker. But in that time, you could say I was just really confused and just wanted to do my own thing. You know, never understanding what I was really putting myself through, what I was really, what rabbit hole I was digging myself. But smoking really was a reliever for me. It was really a calmer. Anything that went wrong, any arguments that I may have had, I smoked and I was completely fine with it. Uh, it was a good and bad time. You know, I don't condone smoking marijuana at all. Kids, stay away from it. People, stay away from it. It's not good. All right. It opens up gateways for you to do other drugs. Happily, I have not tried any other drug besides marijuana, nicotine, and liquor. Because liquor is technically a drug. But those are the only three that I have tried. You couldn't tell me to do acid. You couldn't tell me to do Molly. You couldn't have me pop a pill. You couldn't have no sprinkle, no fairy dust, pixie dust, whatever you want to call it. You know, couldn't sprinkle none of that on any of it, or even get me to even try it. Cocaine and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I always consider those drugs with death. You know, too many people dying from those drugs. I never heard anybody die from marijuana. You know, I heard people die from cigarettes and I heard people die from liquor, but it's such a common use even to people that don't even try marijuana, or people that don't even drink liquor. They smoke, you know, nicotine, or people that drink liquor and smoke nicotine because it gives them an extra boost while they're drunk, or whatever the case may be, or it calms them down while they're drunk. But you know, I never tried those. Please do not do them. It's not good. I do not condone it. This is just my life on what I have done. You know, some of the dirt that I have done in my life, and you know, and you know, I did a lot more. Well, not really a lot more, but I was just really stuck on marijuana. I smoked 24/7. Like, you couldn't stop me from smoking. You know, I got in trouble for it. My mom decided to call the cops on me. Was real mad at my mom. Was ready to leave the house. I didn't care where I went, but I was ready to go anywhere I could because, you know, your mom telling you she's gonna call the cops on you. I started to resent my mom at that time too, because it's like, you already tried to call the cops on me once. Now you're telling me you're gonna try to call the cops on me again. So how much do you really love me if, excuse me, how much do you really love me if you're gonna call the cops on me to get me to go to jail, knowing that now I'm gonna be put in the system? So I had a really strong mind on me. I thought things out, and you know, not everything I thought out was good. Okay, you know, I thought out killing people. I thought out all types of things. You know, and it all ain't good. But you know, I started to resent her because she tried to call the cops on me again. You know, already knowing that I don't like cops. I hated cops at that time. You know, and the crazy part is I hated cops, but I wanted to be one. You know, I was very contradicting to my own self. And um, when I was younger, you know, I thought they were the coolest people. They catch bad guys and they kill bad guys. They shoot them down if they get shot at and stuff like that. You know, and you know they carry a gun, they carry a weapon, they look cool, they got all these stuff on them. You know, so much stuff, all these gadgets, felt like a spy at the same time. You know, so it was just, you know, a little cool thing. I watched a lot of TV shows that dealt with killing and cops and stuff like that, and how they had to take people down. So you know, I was very intrigued. You know, very very intrigued, but did not like them worth nothing until I became one. Then it would have been better, but I didn't become a cop, so you know, wasn't a goal of mine anymore. Decided I don't want to do it. Looks like too much, and I don't want to die for no reason. I thank you, cops, for doing your job, for being here for us, but sometimes, you know, some of y'all aren't for us, and that's just what it is. But yeah, I started using drugs. I started going to parties, drinking, smoking. One party I had to leave and run out of because people's, not even one, but it was a party that, you know, someone decided to bring a gun and start shooting. And when I say we was out, I put on the jets, like everybody say. I put on the jets, got a blast, and I was gone from that house. People was like, dang, you ran fast. I run fast. I was a track star. But I didn't do track for too long, but I was really fast. Coaches tried to get me back to go and do track, but I just kept denying them. I played an instrument, I played the flute, definitely fun, but it wasn't like anything cool at all either. I was really good, got to the wind ensemble, and I decided to drop it because my teacher decided to, my band teacher, he left us outside to play for the school event, and I had broke out in hives, and I told him I couldn't come and do the practice for that day, and he decided to say that if I can't come, then I can't play for my older brother's graduation. So that's when I completely said, okay, you're cut off. Didn't care about what he got going on, because if I couldn't play, well then that's okay. I could still go and watch. You couldn't get me, so you know I thought it out, but at the same time, you know, it was definitely a moment of realization. But then again, like I said, I was very much of a liar, so I did not break out in hives. I just wanted to smoke marijuana, literally. Marijuana took over my life. There's a lot of things that I would have wanted to do, but I decided to smoke instead. I decided there's a lot of times where I could have used my money for something better, but I decided to smoke instead. The time when I started selling it, the time when I started running from people that was trying to kill us because, you know, we decided to buy a large amount. They stole the money. We got a problem with it. They had weapons. We didn't. We ran. Okay? They kept the money. Do what you want, man. I don't want it, you know. Never hit that person up again, though. Yeah. There was one time as well, I was smoking marijuana. It was me and my friends, and we now this is messed up, but you know, we were smoking marijuana. We was on top of a rooftop. It was we called it the castle. That's what it was known for. We called it the castle. It was an abandoned warehouse that was right in the corner of a street, and the only way to it was walking through the train tracks. And you know, it's a little cut. You had to go up a little hill of a grass, and then once you get up there, you walk through the train tracks, and then you get into the spot. There's broken windows, so you was able to climb in through the broken window. So we decided to smoke marijuana. Something happened. Our friends started scaring us. People thought, you know, they saw something or whatever, and we ran. And as we was running to get out of here, my friend falls and slips and cuts his hand up. Now, we leave, we run out of it, we out of there, and you know, mind you, we already smoking and stuff like that. We're hotboxing, it's so cool, we're hotboxing. And you know, I was always scared when I was smoking because I was always in areas where we shouldn't be. And I was the type to be scared, but you know, try to tough it out. You wouldn't notice I was scared, but I would be like, yo, I kind of want to go. Like, we shouldn't be here. I'd rather just be somewhere where I could just not have to feel anxious all the time. But we was there. Oh man. And we got out. He cut up his hands as when he fell. He got up and, you know, we kept going. But we didn't leave the area. Nothing happened. Our friend was just trying to scare us or whatever. And then we decided to climb up a ladder. And when we climbed up this ladder, there was a rooftop, and we sat on the rooftop for a little bit. We talked. We had one more blunt. I think we was gonna smoke. We smoked it or whatever the case may be, and then we was coming down the ladder. Now the ladder had a level ground after you come down, and then it has a little box where you can keep going further down, but you had to step off to the side before and not keep going down, else you'll go all the way down to the basement. Mind you, you can say it was about a 4-story, 5-story building, and we was coming down the ladder, and when we came down, the guy was like, I feel like I might slip. And I was like, no, you're not, brother. I'm right here. Mind you, the other two had walked out of the area already, and I was waiting behind to help him down, you know, because his hands was cut up, and you know, so when he decided to go, when he was coming down, I don't know how he slipped. I don't know what happened really, but all I know was that he went through the hole, and when he went through the hole, all hell broke loose. Okay, I was screaming his name, and surprisingly, his name is Jesus, Jesus. So that was a very funny, not funny, but you know, it's very odd name for what happened. But he fell, and when he fell, he we thought he was dead. Okay, let's just be simple with that. I yelled for his name. I called for my friends to come and help me to go down there and get him. It was a long way down that ladder, so we thought he was dead. And it wasn't cushion on there. It wasn't even wood. It was concrete when you got down there. And when we got down there, his head was leaking, his eyes was twitching. And I mean, he had a pool of blood around his head. And we was terrified. We didn't know what to do. Mind you, our high was gone. We wasn't even high no more, because we was in adrenaline. Like, what to do, what's going on, how to do it. We left, and we left the area because we didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to do. But we put a pillow under his head. I remember us putting a pillow under his head, and I think that's what saved him. But not even, you know, the Lord saved him. Truly, I tell you, the Lord saved him. But we left the scene, and we went to my house. My house was not too far away from it, and then we was devising a plan to how to tell the cops, because we didn't all want to go to jail for trespassing one, and then everybody thinking that we did it to him, and that was not the case whatsoever. But we left him there, and it was sad because we left him there. We all felt like really bad that we left him there, but we didn't leave him there to leave him there. We left him there to call for help, and no one stayed there with him. You know, we felt as though the cops had our fingerprints and all that on the stuff that we was touching and all that, so it was definitely a very scary time at that moment. But then out of nowhere, he calls us. You know, he calls us. He literally calls us while we're still devising a plan on how we're going to help him and how we're going to call the cops and what should we do. Like, we was thinking, this is one of the thoughts that we had, was to go to one of the old payphones that's around and, you know, going all black, have our face masked up, because we thought about the cameras that may be around it as well. Excuse me. Call the cops, and then let it take it from there. We didn't get to do any of that, but he called us. Like I said, it was amazing. He called us, and when I say we ran in full speed to go and get him, we ran in full speed. We did not stop, not one bit to take a breath, nothing. And we got him. Then when we got him, we took him to our other friend's house that was a little closer than mine, and we called the cops there. He felt really tired and dizzy, sleepy, but we kept him awake. We know that it wasn't good for him to go to sleep, you know, and we at least knew a little bit about medical stuff to make sure that he was okay. We had to put his hat on his head as well because his head was leaking so much that when he got up, that, you know, he had blood all over his back and stuff, and his head was just smashed into a good extent. Kind of made his head a little flat in the back. But yeah. So we got him help. You know, we told him make sure he don't tell about what's going on. We was all scared that he was going to tell, and he didn't. He said he was at a party and he fell from the roof. So they took that and ran with it. And you know, we was okay. We was okay. We went to the hospital to check on him. I wasn't able to. I was too poor to do so. You know, but my other friends checked up on him, and it was definitely, he was okay. You know, everybody was looking at him. He was okay. I gave him back his hat, and I gave him a necklace, not a necklace, a chain or whatever. And not a chain. It wasn't a chain or a necklace. It was I can't remember what it is, but I gave him some type of idol. I gave him some type of idol, and he you know, he cherished it. He appreciated it. You know, he appreciated us for helping him walk, because we had to help him walk the whole way there. He was not able to walk. His back was messed up. So, you know, after he got all healed up, his back was messed up. He had a little bit of brain, I don't believe any brain damage, but he did have, you know, a bad damage to his head. But luckily, no brain damage. I don't know if he cracked the skull or not. You know, I kind of try to keep his business to himself. I didn't really want to know much of what happened. But yeah, so then there was another time we was in the castle. You know, we didn't learn our lesson from there. We was in the castle again. We had a party going on, and everybody decided to do it in the castle. You know, kids, man, it's so funny. So we decided to have a party in the castle. It was Halloween time. People could dress up and come in as ever they want, and you know, I had my new kicks on. I felt like I was the man. You know, you go into a party, you know, females is there. You know, you gotta look sharp. You know, and you know, I had my new kicks on and stuff like that. And then we get to the party. It was a good little time. I had me a good quarter on me of marijuana. My friend had another quarter on him. My other friend had a quarter on him. He had a quarter on him. And we all came together. And then people at the party had quarters on them. So, you know, we went L for 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 L. Definitely a lot of smoking went down. And we smoked with a lot of females, you know. Then something happened. And people was getting robbed. People with guns came inside and was pointing guns at everybody and making them give them whatever they had. Mind you, we heard that was going upstairs. So someone ran down and was like, yo, get out of here, get out of here, get out. Somebody's coming, people's up there getting robbed right now. And I ain't gonna take all the credit, but I will say that I saved everybody, ones that I could save. There was a window that we had to climb out of. I helped everybody climb out the window so that they can get out. And I was the only one that knew how to climb out that window, because first I climbed out the window, then I climbed back in the window to help whoever else needed it. And then, you know, we was able to all run out of there, and it was crazy. You know, everybody was talking. Next day at school, people was talking about the party, and you know, a couple people was like, yo, I got robbed. My friend had $300 on him. That was all taken away. Some other people had a good amount of money on them as well that was taken. Their phones was taken, you know. Anything that was valuable was taken from them, you know. And I was just happy that it didn't happen to me. But I saved most of the people that I was with. I mean, most of them was females and stuff like that. But for the most part, that was what happened in there. So I did do a lot of dirt, but I was never really evil or malice to anybody. You know, I had anger and envy towards certain people, uh, people that were real evil to other people for no reason. I did I did have something against them. I didn't like them at all. Period. Didn't matter. I was cool with them because I didn't want them to mess with me. Then there was a time that I got jumped. Now, I got jumped for standing up for my friend because, he wanted to buy some marijuana. He gave the guy money to go buy him some marijuana, and the guy said, yeah, thank you, and then never gave him back the money or the marijuana. So we confronted him at school, and, I confronted him, got a little wild, got excited, was ready to fight. Everybody knew, oh, snap, you about to fight Kev, and, like I said, I did boxing. I don't think I said it, but I did box. I did do boxing, and stuff like that, and a little bit of martial arts. And everybody knew that I was good for it. I showed them what I knew, my little sparring techniques and stuff like that, my little technique punches and stuff. So people knew that I was legit. I can't say that I was boxing forever, but I was boxing for a decent time to understand what the heck I was doing. And I confronted him. He was on the football team, so his football team decided to gang up on us, and we had a time where we was gonna fight outside. It got real heated. They were talking about jumping me because they were like, oh, I can't beat him on one-on-one, so I'm gonna have to jump him. And I got jumped, but I was standing up for the right cause. Even though it was for marijuana, it was bad, I was standing up for the right cause. And there was a whole crowd following us, getting ready to go see this fight that's about to go down. And it was funny because everybody was like, yeah, Cal, I'm gonna help you if you get jumped, I'm gonna help you. But not a single person helped me, which was funny. But I had one good close friend that I had that helped me fight that fight. And he was holding it down too over there by himself because he was getting jumped himself. But he was holding it down better than me. My friend did tell me to take off my hoodie, but I didn't want to take off my hoodie. I had a thing. I like hoodies. I needed my hoodie. So, but I should have took off my hoodie. But then, the dude tries to punch me. I dodge it. He tries to punch me again. I dodge that again. And then he walks away from me. And then goes try to fight the next person. So I said no. And I went up to him, and then once I went up to him, because it's like, I guess they felt as though he's about to get jumped because he done tried to hit me twice, missed. And then he tries to go after the dude that he stole the money from, which my friend was kind of like a punk, but, he tried to go after him. And I was like, no, like, we fighting. And next thing you know, my hoodie gets taken from behind me, and I get bamboozled. We're gonna keep that in there. That's funny. But bamboozle. And next thing you know, I'm down like this. My head dragged down. Then I'm getting punched from every corner. And then next thing you know, I get knocked over and I'm getting hit from every corner. Mind you, there's a whole bunch of people around me, and I could tell because as I'm getting punched and I was at least standing at that moment, I seen like 8 different shoes. So I know like I didn't see this. I know what 2 pairs look like, okay? But no, I seen 8 different pairs of shoes. Let's be clear with this. Mind you, I was not tall at all. I was probably at least like 5'2", 5 feet, and most of them was taller than me. I was pretty short at a young age. I'm still pretty short now, but I was pretty short at a young age, and I got jumped, but I didn't have no bruises. I didn't have no pain. It felt like pillows. Like it really felt. Excuse me. And I never got jumped before. So when I got jumped, and that was the only time I ever got jumped. But when I got jumped, it didn't feel like anything. It didn't feel like how people got jumped in the movies or looked and stuff like that. And I always wondered how people get jumped, because if if you're gonna fight me and you're gonna jump me, I'm gonna do this to you. I'm gonna do this to that person. Like before he even do that, I'm gonna grab his fingers and break it. You used to think of things like how you getting jumped. Like, bro, watch out, take his arm, twist it, break it, and so I was always hyped. I was like, yo, yeah, go ahead. But I got sneak attacked by out of nowhere, like literally sneaked. People even had the video and was like, yeah, you got totally sneaked, and it was like mad people around me just punching me and hitting me, kicking me, and stuff like that. But honestly, I didn't get up with no bloody lip, no busted lip, no headache, no cuts. I just had dirt all over me because I was on the floor getting kicked, and I mean getting kicked out. And I really don't know how I didn't feel anything. I thought I was gonna feel something. Then I went to school the next day, and it was like, oh, Kevin got jumped. I was kind of a little ashamed to hold my head up in school, but then again, I wasn't, because I know you're more of a punk if you have to jump someone, especially if they're smaller than you, and if you had to jump me, and how you sneaked me. It's not even like you got clean. You sneaked me. So, I still felt a little confidence in myself, because it's like, it just is what it is. You sneak me. You can't be cool if you sneak. That's not cool. But yeah, I got beat up. And everybody that said they was gonna help me, let's just put it this way, they didn't help me. Only one friend did. Two friends did, and that was that. But yeah, that was the time I got jumped, and that's about it. I stood up to bullies. Not at a certain point I started to stand up to bullies, and it was a certain point where I started to try to be cool with them so I don't get bullied. But it wasn't really just to be cool with them, not to get bullied, just be cool to them because I wanted to fit in, So yeah, that was that. That's mainly my life, a lot of up and downs. Really, I just struggled a lot. I struggled a lot with, family, eating, not having any food, not having any water, not having any, sometimes not even having anywhere to go, having to stay in a really crowded house and then still get picked on by your family about what's going on in your life, knowing that you're picking on me, but how is that bringing me up? You housed me, but now you're making fun of me. You're telling me that I'm destroying your house. And mind you, we just stuck to ourselves. We didn't really try to overplay anybody or anything like that. But then family didn't even want to take us in no more, and we end up living with a friend's, my older brother's friend, mom, and we was definitely thankful for that, and we stayed with her. I was still smoking marijuana and stuff like that, still spiraling out of control, rebelling a little bit, because it's like, dang, we're in this situation again. Like every time we move, we're always getting kicked out, evicted, and stuff like that. So it was definitely a hard time when I was younger. But everything is looking way better in the light. Honestly. But yeah, that's my story. I don't know what else.